It's Pride Month, and while some major names in the rock and metal world are known for being LGBTQ, there are others who many are unaware they represent pride in a great way.
This Pride Month, we want to highlight a handful of these amazing artists and share a bit of their stories as we celebrate. My name is Alex, longtime rock radio host, most recently teaming up with 98 KUPD in Phoenix, and co-host of the podcast that rocked.
This is not a top 10, no ranking, just a list of great musicians that identify as gay, bi, trans, etc. Please subscribe if you want more videos like this in your feed. Hit the like button. You know how these videos work. Let's get to it. And first, 2 honorable mentions. Queen may not be full metal, but there's no way we cannot include one of the best frontmen of all time. So much has been said about Freddie Mercury that we won't be able to do it justice here, and we wanted to give some more spotlight to other Pride singers in heavy music. Queen is still a blast, and still wanted to give some credit. Speaking of Queen...
Speaking of Queen, we would be remiss not to mention the Lady Gaga. Her namesake, inspired by the 1984 Queen hit Radio Gaga, Mother Monster is a larger-than-life champion for the LGBTQ+ community. Not only is she an absolute icon, she's a fan of rock and metal. She's performed with Metallica, and let's be honest, she rocks harder than a lot of rock bands.
Starting with one of my personal favorite metal singers ever, and one whose coming out story has been well documented, especially at a time where it was quite controversial to be gay, and in a metal band, all during Satanic Panic. Everything Rob Halford has given to Judas Priest is not defined by him being gay or not, it's defined by an amazing voice that someone in his 70s is still outperforming in new artists today. Halford is an example of how to overcome societal norms and continue to kill it as a musician and figurehead in metal. Think about how different metal in the 70s and 80s would have been without Judas Priest and Rob Halford. Yeah, scary thought. Rob Halford got married to his longtime partner Thomas back in 2024, and Halford is the shining example that metal has no boundaries or norms. His autobiography Confession is fantastic, and he goes into detail of the adolescence and adult coming to terms. And he does not hold back on his life events and him coming out over time. To sum up, Halford is a legend and Judas Priest is legendary.
Tagging in with one of my personal favorites, the powerhouse frontwoman of Halestorm, Lzzy Hale. Lzzy confirmed in 2022 on social media that she is unapologetically bisexual. Lzzy has never shied away from sexuality in her lyrics, spanning back to Halestorm's debut self-titled album in 2009 with tracks like I Get Off, onto 2012's Love Bites So Do I from The Strange Case Of, continuing all the way through their 6th and latest full-length album Everest, released in 2025, featuring Like a Woman Can. On this track, Lzzy addresses her broadened attraction head-on. Recently, Lzzy also revealed that she and Halestorm guitarist Joe Hottinger have been in a relationship for literal decades. Having a supportive partner with you as you navigate your truth is amazing, and I'm so grateful Lzzy has someone who is fully supportive, and it probably doesn't hurt when you find new common ground. Turns out, in women, Lzzy and Joe have the same type.
Switching gears to an icon in pop punk, emo, and even traditional punk back in the 90s with Billie Joe Armstrong of Green Day. During an interview in 95, Billie Joe came out as bisexual and stated that he always felt that way. It's worth acknowledging the timing of this when 90s media was not kind to gay and bi stereotypes, and the rock scene was still learning to accept people in different walks of life. Green Day was already a huge name in 95 with Dookie, and Armstrong coming out did nothing to slow down the momentum of God's favorite band. Armstrong has also been married for over 3 decades and has 2 sons with his wife, proving that being bi is just another way of life. Billie Joe once said punk has always been about doing things your own way. For Armstrong, he's definitely fought for that in and out of music. Turns out being obnoxious did get him where he is today. That's a direct quote, by the way. I'm not trying to make fun. Few people really dislike Billie Joe Armstrong. Only one I can think of off the top of my head is Linda Perry.
Well, yeah. Linda Perry had some choice words for Billie Joe Armstrong. According to Perry, she was tapped by the Green Day frontman to produce the follow-up to American Idiot. Courtney Love leaked that info, and fans were not happy that their punk band would be working with one of the biggest pop producers in the game, having written and produced hits for Pink, Gwen Stefani, Christina Aguilera. So in the wake of this backlash, Perry says Billie Joe completely ghosted her and she lost 6 months of work. So yeah, not friends. Linda Perry is a multi-platinum producer and songwriter. She's a member of the Songwriter Hall of Fame, and she is a happy lesbian who has been out and proud since she came onto the scene. A founding member of Four Non Blondes, their breakthrough 1993 hit got the He-Man meme treatment over 20 years ago and is now featured in Masters of the Universe. Yes, Linda Perry wrote What's Up, which topped charts around the world, pulled in multiple gold and platinum certifications, and is still relevant over 30 years later. Linda Perry also produced the sophomore Dorothy album, 28 Days in the Valley. She's worked with Cheap Trick, Pat Benatar, Weezer, a very decorated resume.
One of my favorite bands gained an amazing guitarist in 2017 with Gina Gleason. When former guitarist Pete Adams left Baroness, many people wondered what would happen for John in the group, but Gina was a no-brainer choice and fit like a glove. Gleason had performed with the Smashing Pumpkins and Carlos Santana, toured with Brendan Small, and was the lead guitarist of Cirque du Soleil before becoming lead guitar and backing vocals of Baroness. And I honestly think she adds a world of sound and ability to an already talented group, proving it in both Stone and Golden Grey. Gleason married her partner this past October and celebrated with the best dance party ever at the reception. Baroness and dance party is totally a thing that works. I won't explain how. She also really appreciates a good dad joke.
Did you hear about the circus fire?
No.
It was intense.
Over the past few years, PVRIS have grown way beyond that initial pop rock, alt rock sound that they started in. Now we've got a lot more atmospheric and synth elements worked into the music. They're kind of honestly hard to label, which is awesome because we can just say PVRIS is PVRIS, and they've toured with Muse, Fall Out Boy, Linkin Park, Bring Me the Horizon, getting ready to tour with Lindsey Sterling. They've toured with Poppy. They've collaborated with Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park, Courtney LaPlante of Spirit Box, and the creative force behind PVRIS is Lynn Gunn, a gay woman. When Lynn was 18, in the midst of her first love, all of her friends knew she was gay, and she wanted everyone closest to her to know, but she had no idea how to tell her parents. So right before she left on her first ever tour, she wrote a letter and left it under her mom's pillow. You know, these days, Lynn sharing her identity with the world, it's really helped a lot of fans feel empowered to also step into themselves. And fans have come out to their moms at PVRIS shows. Girlfriends propose to each other at PVRIS shows. PVRIS shows have really become a safe space for LGBTQ plus fans.
Straight out of the late 80s with a truly unique act, Faith No More was a talking point for rock fans everywhere. Within the band was Roddy Bottum, an exceptionally skilled keyboard and piano player who made the band stand out in the best way and also happens to be gay. Roddy struggled with his identity and difficulty coming out, telling in an interview, "Growing up and being gay and keeping that from people sort of bred this really secretive person, and I've continued to be that person through my life." Bottum spoke openly in his autobiography about his struggles with his sexual identity and other issues, but also spoke about how he's glad there are more people that are able to identify openly in today's age. In perspective, I don't think there is any way Faith No More would have stood out as much without the keys of Roddy Bottum. He was the additional complementing piece to an amazing band that was different from everything else at the time, and in some ways still is.
Laura Jane Grace is best known as the founder, frontwoman, songwriter, and rhythm guitarist of punk band Against Me. In 2012, she came out as transgender and continued leading the band through one of its most talked about eras. The first album following Grace's coming out, Against Me released Transgender Dysphoria Blues in 2014. And then in 2016, she released a memoir covering personal life to career. And since COVID, Against Me has been on hiatus, and Laura has shifted focus onto solo work and other projects. Her fourth studio album, Adventure Club, was released nearly a year ago now. And for fans within the trans community, seeing and having someone with this platform be so honest and open about everything from dysphoria to sobriety to trying to live as yourself meant a lot. Laura gave people a voice they could recognize, and that kind of visibility matters.
It must be difficult in some ways to have such a success at a young age right out of the gate like Greta Van Fleet. The fan base has a significant amount of adoring female attention toward the throwback sounding band, especially toward singer Josh Kiszka. Despite all that, Josh came out in 2023 stating that he had been in a same-sex relationship for 8 years at that point. The reason for his coming out was after harsh anti-LGBTQ legislation in Tennessee. The singer posted, "These issues are especially close to my heart as I've been in a loving same-sex relationship with my partner for the past 8 years. Those close to me are well aware, but it's important for me to share publicly. Over the years, the outpouring of love for the LGBTQ plus community has been resounding, but there is still work to be done for LGBTQ plus rights in Tennessee, the nation, and the world. A Grammy, #1 songs, RIAA certifications, a healthy relationship, and Josh still wants to help the community gain rights through information and organizations promoting equality. That's a great way to make it a brave new world."
After leaving Attack Attack in 2012, Caleb Shomo went on to form Beartooth. Fans of Beartooth are very familiar with the pain in a lot of the lyrics, as Shomo has been very candid about the anger, depression, addiction, self-hatred, and hopelessness behind the music. In 2026, Beartooth dropped a new track, Free, accompanied by a brand new video, a brand new look from Caleb. He was rocking eyeliner, awesome glam rock leather garb, and unfortunately, some people felt the need to respond with hateful, homophobic remarks. So, following that, Shomo deleted his Instagram account, and he has since rejoined socials, and he returned with a huge announcement that he is a proudly gay man. And as a listener, Free felt like an intense weight being lifted, and now it absolutely makes sense. And it's great to know that Caleb is finally free and has so much love and support surrounding him.
There is much more LGBTQ representation in heavy music, so leave a comment and let everyone know who else is included.
Be sure to stay up to date on everything we've got going on here, subscribe to Rocked, and join me across socials as well, at Voice of Alex.
Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Check out the podcast that rocked on YouTube. The playlist link is in the video description. And finally, here is some animal footage.